Hi guys, back in the workshop again. I know in the last video I said that the next video would be more about the radio installation, but I thought, well, you know what, why don't I just show the finishing off of the finishings, the panel lines and that, on mainly on the underside of the fuselage of the wing, and maybe, just maybe, put it all together and show you what it looks like in a next to complete state. So let's nip over to the building board and see what I'm doing now. Yeah, well, over on the building board you can see that I've marked out the underside panel lines here, predominantly really the undercarriage, the doors, and I've just eyed those in. I haven't measured it or anything at all, just used a line drawing here and just mark them up based on that. So it's more an impression of it rather than actual true to scale. And I must emphasize that some people have commented on some of the videos, oh, it's not necessarily true to scale, and it's not true to scale. This is indicative of the plane, and as long as it looks just about right, then I'm happy with it. Entirely up to you how you finish yours, of course. Anyway, back to what I'm doing. So I've drawn the panel lines with my fine liner, and because the undercarriage is a bit like the flaps, really, it's a really prominent part of the surface, I need to go over that with a bit deeper colour, and I'm using the black charcoal pencil for that. Whereas obviously on the upper surfaces and the panel lines I've done elsewhere, I've used the sepia pencil. Anyway, I'm just going to overdraw the pen line here. And you'll see what I'm going to do in a moment, why I'm doing this. Obviously it makes them stick out a lot more. Well, then if you think about it logically, there are going to be gaps between the undercarriage doors and the wing itself. It's not going to be a close fit. So I've just overdrawn that with the black charcoal there, and rather than use my finger, I'll be honest with you, my finger's quite sore after all the panel lining, I'm going to use a dry brush. And using the dry brush, I'm just rubbing over that charcoal line that I've just done. And what that does, it gives it a sort of three-dimension, as we saw before with the panel lines. This gives it a bit of a three-dimensional feel to it. And I can brush that back as well, because that's airflow going over it like that. I'll use my finger now. I don't have to do too much rubbing. It was getting very sore though. So now you can see, hopefully, the look that I've tried to achieve with that. It's not a sharp pencil line, it's a rubbed pencil line, so it's a bit softer, but I've rubbed it back as well, so you can see the effect of the airflow. Now on these other panel lines, I'm not going to do the same thing. I'm going to use the brown pen on that, because I don't want them to be as harsh. So typically, and I'm not using the ruler here because I'm not too concerned about how accurate this is, because the pen underlying it will give the accuracy of the panel line there. They're really rubbing that in well again, so now you can see the same sort of effect I had elsewhere on the wing. Obviously it's going to stick out more on the underside because it's a light colour, unlike the top surface there, where it's the light, the brown, the darker colour, and everything seems to blend in more. So I'm going to continue with that, and I'll come back when I've got it into a near finished state. Right, so I've gone over the whole wing now and put the panel lines on that I want to put on. But the last touching thing to do on this, or you can do on that, is to use a slightly wet cloth or sponge or whatever, and just brush that back over the charcoal lines, obviously going from front to back, because what this is going to do is give you some weathering. And when you've got some on your cloth as well, go from the leading edge as well, because the leading edge will have picked up muck and there'll be streak marks coming back. So, and again, the beauty of this is if you don't like it, you can wash it off and start again. It's not a problem at all. I mean, don't go over the top on it. I mean, my suggestion would be no more than something like that. But you can see that it's given it now a bit of feel, a bit of wash of the dirt coming back across the airframe. So really speaking, that is it with regards to the panel lines. The streaking that I just mentioned, you could continue across on the top surface of the wing as well, but that's got a lot of weathering on it as anyway. The wing is, top surface of the wing is nicer anyway, because it's got multicolours on it, so it looks a lot more inviting, and you're going to see more of that than you are the underside of the wing. That's a bit boring, the underside of the wing in comparison, but there. So what else have I been up to? Well, I'll show you the fuselage in a moment, but I've also painted the spinner. That's got to have the black band. In fact, there's the base of the spinner there. So it has the black band there and then white. Obviously that's too pristine, so I'm going to attack that now, and what I'm going to use is the rub and buff, the silver cream paint, whatever you want to call it, that I used before on the fuselage. And I'm just going to, well, I've just got a cotton bud there. Let's just use that instead of a brush. So I'm just going to pick up bits on here and just make out sort of worn bits on the spinner there. You can do this with a paintbrush, you can do it with whatever you like, really, whatever gives you that, the sort of look that you want to achieve on it. Bits here and there. That'll do. Maybe some more, maybe some on the black as well. I'm still debating whether to go round this ring here, because there were screws, because on the full size this is the fixed prop hub and this unbolts, so there were screws all the way round. It's a lot of effort. Should I bother to do it? I'm not sure. I'll as it were sleep on that and come back. So now if we look at the fuselage and the work that I've done on the fuselage, I've done the shading for where the fabric cover is. I've got all the swaths, I've got panel lines now on there. I've got the markings, the squadron markings in yellow. You see there I've got panel lines and a panel showing there. I've done the front of the fuselage as well, where you've got the gun blister panel release catches here. I've just pen those in and a bit of white. I've put some exhaust oily smoky marking on the side of the fuselage there. I've gone through with the silver and highlighted worn bits round the engine cowl, and I've painted the yellow, plus I've weathered it with some dirty oily marks there. So that's just about ready. I think I've got to do some more, just thinking about it logically. There would be more of the paint worn away round the front of the cowl here, because that's obviously bearing the brunt of the airstream and the sand and what have you. So that's going to have some more. So let's just go around there, maybe around that whole edge of the cowl. That may well have been worn away back to the aluminium there. Oh, that's better. That's what I wanted to try and achieve there. So if I just come down here, I love this stuff, this rub and buff or whatever it's called. It's so good, it's so authentic for like a worn away type look to it. So yeah, that looks a lot better. I'm happier with that. There, that's good. Okay, so one last thing to do, which is fitting the vane, and I'll come back. Well, here she is in all her glory, finished apart from the varnish covering that I've got to give it. I think it looks the part. Obviously I've got to fit a pilot as well, that goes without saying. Yeah, I like the way the silver is picked up on there and on the canopy, and you'll see the fan in there as well I've put on. So let's just have a look at the underside. So there's the underside. Yeah, I've got to fit the push rods on the ailerons. Hope that wind doesn't get up too much, it's bouncing around a bit. But it should prove to be quite visible in the sky as well, which is good. And again you can see the bits of silver here picking up some wear where the legs will go up. So all in all, I'm very pleased with the project. The only thing left to do is the radio gear, and I'll do another video on final fitting out prior to the maiden flight. Well guys, hope you enjoyed this last in the build video of the FW190. As I said in the last snippet, I will be doing another video of the fitting out of the radio gear, but there's not a lot involved in that, so that'll be a very short video, and then it'll be down to testing CFG and making sure that's okay. I have a feeling it's going to be slightly tail heavy, but we shall see, and how I overcome that, by either moving the battery forward if I can, or fitting more weight to the nose, who knows. We'll see that anyway in hopefully the next video. So thanks for watching, If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Please like the video down below, put any comments down below and I'll get back to you, and see you on the next one.